Hello and welcome to this edition of Tigunia TipTok. Today we're going to be talking about different methods for posting cash receipts within Business Central. We're going to focus on two specific functions. One is through the deposits functionality and the second is through the cash receipts journal. Obviously every company likes cash receipts, pays the bills, pays your salary. So we're going to talk about how to record those within Business Central. The first direction we're going to go to is the cash receipts journal. So I'm going to click on cash receipts journal and open that up. And on the cash receipts journal, it's just a regular journal, debits and credits on every particular line. So in this case, our posting date, our document number can be the check number that you receive from the customer. It could be, if this is a wire, an incoming wire or an incoming ACH, it can be the reference number associated with it. But it needs to be whatever that document number is going to be that you can search for it. The account type in this case is going to be our bank account, because we're actually going to debit the bank account and credit the customer's account. So we're going to input our account number. We're also then going to put a positive amount in here. And so this amount's going to be 2024.4. And then our offset is going to be a customer in this case, and it's going to be customer 20,000. Now we can go on at that point and add more checks. So if we got another check here for the same bank, this one's going to be for 2895.5. This customer is going to be customer 30,000. Now I can go ahead and just post this at this point, and this would go ahead and post debits to our bank account and credits to the customer account, and it would put that payment amount on the customer's ledger. We wouldn't be matching it against any invoices at this point. We would just be putting it on the customer ledger. Then you'd have to go into the customer ledger entry and apply those payments, and we'll show you how to do that in just a minute. The other alternative is to go ahead and match it directly on the line or through the applied payments. So if you were applying to one invoice, for example, you could click on the applies to doc type and click the invoice, and then come over here to the applies to doc number and drill into the specific invoice that you're looking for. Once you identify the correct invoice, you can go ahead and click OK, and it'll apply that to that invoice. That's a one-to-one relationship with this payment. But oftentimes you actually are going to getting more invoices, hopefully being paid on one check. So you need an opportunity or a way to basically post multiples. So if you go ahead and highlight the line, and then we're going to go up to process and then apply entries. When you do that, it's going to bring you a list of all of the entries that are open for that particular customer. And so we're just going to take a look at these two. We're going to come up to the process here, and we're going to click on process set applies to ID. We want to make sure that ID is the same number that's on the line. We're going to come to this one and also do the same thing. And so what we're basically doing is setting that check number as the applies to ID on those two particular lines. Now when we come back to the screen, you'll see that this applied check mark is checked, indicating that this payment is being applied to something. We don't have anything here because we don't need it here at this point, because we've already set the application on the applies to screen. We can do the same thing with this one, or just leave that alone and go ahead and post at that point. Now at this point I'm not going to post it because I want to run this same transaction through the cash receipts journal. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these lines just so that they don't get in the way when we use the other functionality. So we'll close down the cash receipts journal. The feature that I want to use now is the deposits functionality. I personally find this a little bit easier to use. So once you have that open, go ahead and click on New. And you can enter a deposit number or use the next numbers functionality to create the number. You'll assign whatever bank you're going to apply to. And then you can leave the total deposits blank if you want, or if you know what the total is, you can fill it in. I'm going to leave it blank. You do need to make sure that this matches the total of the deposit lines, but you can fill that in after you've filled in the deposit lines. Make sure the posting date and the document date are correct, and then down here in this screen, in the line section, you're going to enter the checks that you got. So in this case, we're getting a check from our customer, 20,000. Let's get rid of the fact box to give us more real estate. This is document 12345, and it's for 202440. I'm going to do another customer. And so you can keep adding these deposits as necessary. Maybe throughout the day, just add the deposits to your page until you get everything entered. Now, in this case, like I said, once we've got all the checks entered, you see we've got the total deposit lines. I can go up and just add this right here so that I do have a total difference of 0. Now, at this point, just like the cash receipt journal, I could go ahead and just post this, and it would go ahead and post those payments on the customer's account. Or, like I'm going to do this time, for this first one, I'm going to go ahead and go to More Options, Functions, and Apply Entries. Once again, I'm going to set the Applies To for these first two because that's what it's paying. And we're going to click OK. I'm going to leave the second one all by itself without any applications, and I'll show you how to apply that in the customer ledger once we've posted it. So with this now in place, I can go ahead and post that transaction. So it goes ahead and posts it to the journal. Now I can go to my cash receipts entries, and we'll go ahead and filter for the customer. So I'm going to go ahead first and filter for customer 20,000. And look at all the transactions. So here's that payment in here for 2,000. And it actually applied against a couple of the invoices. If we want to find out what invoices it did process against, we can go to the entry and then go to the applied entries, and it'll show you the actual invoices that payment applied to. And so you can see that those two are now emptied out, 169 and 181. So if we come down here and scroll down, here's 181, and you'll see that the remaining amount on that is 0, and the other one is right here with the remaining amount of 0. Now I'm going to go ahead and change this filter to the 30,000 so we can see those transactions. You'll see we've now got 28,000 here in the remaining amount, and there's actually 3 checks that this is paying. It's paying this $11,000 check or invoice, the $1,000 invoice, and the $16,000 invoice. So we're going to pay all 3 of those through this application. So in order to apply that, I go ahead and click on the payment lines, and then I go up and click on Process and then Apply Entries. And you'll see then I got the same screen that I got before. I can go and find those specific invoices. So this was one of them. I can click Set Applies To. This one I need to clear that out so I can actually set the Applies To on that one, and then also set the Applies To on this last one. So you can see I've got all of this applied. My balance is 0 if I scroll down because I've actually applied the full payment amount. And at this point, there's no other posting activities that go on with the cash receipts, so I'll actually need to post the applications manually. So once again, go to Process, and now that I've got the Set Applies To ID set, I can post those applications. It'll give me the document number and the date it wants to post, and it'll go ahead and post those applications. You'll see that my check is now zeroed out, and those $3 amounts, the $16,000 invoice, the $1,200, and the $11,000 are all zeroed out. So a couple of different ways of posting deposits and a couple of different ways of applying those payments to the open invoices. Same kind of process with the application can also occur on the vendor side. So hopefully this gives you some good information about how you can apply payments and also how you can record those necessary deposits that you need for your organization. If you have any questions about this or about any other topic within Business Central, go ahead and reach out to us here at Tigunia. Also, just remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you're reminded of future videos that we go ahead and publish. So I've appreciated your attendance. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for attending.